السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وأصحابه أجمعين. أما بعد. All praises are for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Lord of the entire universe, the sustainer, the cherisher, the most merciful, the most gracious. Peace and salutation and full blessings and mercy be upon our beloved Prophet, Habibuna Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, his relatives, his family members, his companions, and all the lovers, young and old, men and women, and children, and everyone who loves and follows the Habib sallallahu alayhi wa sallam until the Yawm al-Qiyamah. Alhamdulillah, this is a season that the believers are extremely excited about, looking forward to. They are happy to hear that the number of days before Ramadan are very short. Alhamdulillah, just less than 2 weeks. We will have inshallah one more Jum'ah before we enter the month of Ramadan, which is indeed a very exciting time for the believers. Why not? Because, my dear believers, month of Ramadan offers full of mercy, rahmah. The doors of the Jinan, Jannah, the paradise, will be opened, widely opened, in order to welcome the believers in the month of Ramadan. And the doors to Jahannam, the hellfire, will be shut to say, no, believers, do not do anything that will give you entry to the Jahannam. You need to engage in ibadah, in respecting this month of Ramadan. The month of Ramadan, inshaAllah, we all are looking forward to it because Allah's Habib sallallahu alayhi wa sallam had given us an indication right in the month of Rajab. As we all know, the prayer or the dua that he used to make, Allahumma barik lana fi Rajabin wa Sha'ban. This was a kind of reminder to the believers that our guest, the most important guest, is just around here. Salaf al-Salihin, they say that, or it was a practice among the Salaf al-Salihin to pray many months, or to prepare about 6 months early, to prepare for welcoming the month of Ramadan. And also, the scholar says, they will continue after the month of Ramadan, for the next 6 months, they will continue praying, "Oh Allah, accept the month of Ramadan from us. Our fasting, our reading, Taraweeh, Quran, everything, Ya Allah, accept it from us." The next 6 months, they will engage in asking Allah to accept that Ramadan. And then after that, the next 6 months, they will say, "Ya Allah, please bring us or help us to be in the month of Ramadan. We don't want to miss it." My dear believers, of course, we all know that if there is a visitor or guest, an important guest comes to visit us, if that guest is very important, significant in our life, we'll be dreaming about it, talking about it, daydreaming. Okay, mashallah, he's coming, we're going to visit him. Say, for example, if our parents are coming from overseas to visit us, from my own experience, I can tell you, many months in advance, I will be excited, trying to look forward to meet that moment of meeting my parents. My dear believers, a month of Ramadan is the most important guest in our life. 11 months, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala helped us to eat from halal sustenance He had provided. Now it is time to say thanks to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by listening to Him, obeying Him when He asked us, okay, take a break for a few days. The way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala described the month of Ramadan is not a long days or long nights. Just ayyam ma'dudat, just a few days. Out of all these 12 months, just for a few days, not the 11 months, not 2 months, not 3 months, just for a few days. You fast for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Therefore, my dear believers, it is important to prepare for this month of Ramadan. We are happy about it, but now it is time to prepare. You may wonder why I'm actually talking this in this week. Because we have to, my dear brothers, we have to start our preparation. And I went through a number of books, kitabs of great scholars. And they actually list a number of things as preparation for welcoming the month of Ramadan. And let me tell you, the most important or the first thing that we should keep in our mind as preparing for the month of Ramadan is spending the next few days and nights, or part of our days and nights, hours in our days and nights, to learn about the month of Ramadan. To learn about the rules of fasting. That is important. In many parts of the world, Muslim communities, they organize different workshops, different study sessions to educate people, to explain to them about the rules of fasting. Fasting has its own ahkam. It has rules such as fard, shurut, furud, mustahabbat, sunan. It has rules that are mufsidat, that breaks our fasting. But we need to be equipped and acquainted. We need to have the knowledge prior to doing any ibadah. We can't pray a salah if we don't have the knowledge. We can't perform hajj before going for hajj. By the way, it is a relevant time to remind all my brothers, not only you brothers who are always listening later to this talk, my humble reminding is get ready. Those who want to go for hajj, get ready, because for hajj as well, early preparation is needed. Before going for hajj, one has to learn about hajj. One has to learn what makes him or her to be compulsory to go for hajj and other rules of the hajj. Similarly, fasting. It is important. There are differences of views among the scholars. Some of them, knowing all the views, difference of views will be helpful for us. If some odd things happens in our life, yes, alhamdulillah, the madhahib, a'immatul kiram, their difference will be helpful for us. So the most important thing, my dear believers, is to learn about fasting, about the month of Ramadan, about the Salat al-Taraweeh, etc. So learning about that is important. Secondly, what we need is, my dear believers, when we are, just like we had this Laylatul Nisf Sha'ban, Sab'a Barat, or Laylatul Bara'ah, on that night, we said that ask for forgiveness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why was that? Why was this, just before Ramadan, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed us with a night like that? Because it was in order to prepare us. In order to prepare us to welcome this month of Ramadan. In order to clean our hearts. To get our sins forgiven. So in other words, this is the time to do tawbah, to repent to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and wash off all our bad things. To say, Ya Allah, forgive me because I want to welcome and receive this month of Ramadan with blessed hearts, clean hearts. So tawbah. And one of the things we learned that night was, that night we learned one very important message. That when many people, so many thousands of people get forgiven, a number of people don't get forgiven. Among them is the one who is mushahin, the one who has got hatred or animosity with others. So the coming days, let's try to create a very friendly atmosphere with our members in our society, with our relatives, our children, our family members. In other words, we become more friendly with them. And if we have anything between that actually created gap between us and others, fill that gap by saying sorry to them. And if it is anything owing, paying back to them. Like that, forgiving them and asking them to forgive. So the relationship with other ibadullah, other servants of Allah, this is a right time to create a better relationship, because we are preparing to welcome this month of Ramadan. My dear believers, we don't have any guarantee in our life that another Ramadan will witness, or we will witness another Ramadan. Ramadan will continue coming till the Yawm al-Qiyamah. But what guarantees about us, about me and you? Nothing. Last week, an uncle passed away. In the month of Sha'ban, he was a great man, alhamdulillah. He donated huge amount of money to several masajid. A great, generous man. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant him maghfirah, accept to whatever he did, and all others. My dear believers, it is time for us to make dua. Ya Allah, do not take my soul away before I witness the month of Ramadan and I get maximum out of the month of Ramadan. I would love to read to you a hadith, an event, an incident, interestingly, that in the time of the Habib sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Talha radiyallahu anhu, a great Sahabi, he said that he had a dream. In his dream, he saw that فَرَأَيْتُ فِي الْمَنَامِ بَيْنَ أَنَا عِنْدَ بَابِ الْجَنَّةِ. In my dream, I happened to be just by the door, next to the door of Jannah. In my dream, I was doing subhanallah, I was having the dream of Jannah. I see the Sahaba, because they had such a pure heart, lovely people, they had chances to dream, to have the dream of Jannat al-Firdaus. Coming back to the story, he said that I had the dream of Jannah. And before that, I can tell you, he says that there was something. Talha radiyallahu anhu says, there were two brothers, two individuals. They came from our side to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Medina. And then they both became Muslims together. But one of them was more hardworking or more interested in joining jihad and etc. So he went for a jihad. He joined a jihad, a legitimate Islamically moral battle. He joined, this one brother he joined, and he was martyred in that jihad, in that ghazwa, a battle. He became a shaheed. And after a year, the other brother, actually they both came together. One of them, he was killed or martyred in the way of Allah in one of the battles. And the second brother, he passed away after a year, after 1 year, normal death. After a year. Then Talha radiyallahu anhu says, one day I saw in the dream that I was right by the door of the Jannah. And then when I was there, فَخَرَجَ خَالِجٌ مِنَ الْجَنَّةِ فَأَذِنَ لِلَّذِي تُوفِيَ الْآخِرُ مِنْهُمَا. Then someone came out of the Jannah, an angel or someone, and said, look, the one who died second after a year, the one who died late, that brother, come to Jannah. So the second person was taken to the Jannah, but the first person who became martyr and died before, he was called to Jannah after 1 year. Like that. And then after this, the second person, or the one who became shaheed or martyred, he was also allowed to enter the Jannah, but it was almost a year after that. And I was shocked. I couldn't get it, because shaheed, the one who became martyr, who get killed in the way of Allah, again with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he must be the first one go into Jannah. But this, in his dream, what he saw, what Talha radiyallahu anhu saw, is the person who died a normal death after 1 year, he was given the priority to enter Jannah before the other martyr, other shaheed. How did this happen? So he went to the Habib sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and in the presence of the Sahaba, he shared this beautiful dream he had with confusion. Then the Habib sallallahu alayhi, he said, Ya Rasulullah, هذا كان أشد الرجلين اجتهادا ثم اجتهد ثم استشهد ودخل هذا الآخر الجنة. فقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم أليس قد مكث هذا بعده سنة. Prophet sallallahu alayhi said, so what is the problem? Why are you confused? Why are you confused? He said, look, Ya Rasulullah, obviously our understanding says the first person who became martyr, he must enter the Jannah before the second person. So how come it was the other way? Then the Habib sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, he lived for one more year. And in that 1 year, he did one more Ramadan. He was fortunate and blessed to have one more Ramadan. He was fortunate to do more sajadah. He was fortunate, he was blessed to read more Quran. And so and so. وَأَدْرَكَ رَمَضَانَ فَصَامَ وَصَلَّى كَذَا وَكَذَا مِنْ سَجْدٍ فِي السَّنَةِ. Wasn't that true? They said, yes, Ya Rasulullah. He was a good man for the next 1 year. Yes, he was fasting in the month of Ramadan like anyone else. Then the Rasulullah said, then there is a big gap, big difference between that shaheed and this brother who lived for one more extra year, in which he received the month of Ramadan to fast as well. So, my dear believers, look at now. Alhamdulillah, it is so precious for us. We can't miss it. And definitely, the month of Ramadan will come. And most likely, with our dua, we will be in the month of Ramadan, inshaAllah. Let's pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yes, it is all in His qada and taqdeer. But the question is, do not take that Ramadan for granted. It will go very fast. It will go just like that. So we have to make sure we plan a kind of timetable in our life, not just for children. Each and every one of us, we work. We are workers, well, we have business, we have other commitments. So make a planning so that we can spend more time in ibadah. In ibadah, fruitful ibadah, meaningful ibadah. Make it a smart ibadah. Read the Quran nicely. Read a few more rak'at of salah. Learn something in the month of Ramadan. So first of all, my dear believers, learn about Ramadan, learn about fasting, learn about Taraweeh, learn all the rules, including the mustahabbat. What gives you extra hasanat? Because the extra hasanat in the month of Ramadan, it means a lot. So do not miss them. And then, second thing I advise myself, do tawbah. Ask Allah to forgive. Third thing I advise, the coming days, as just part of the tawbah, tawbah will not be accepted. I did tell this many times before. Our tawbah will not be accepted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala unless we have settled with everyone. In other words, unless we pay back to whoever we owe. Okay? We have to say sorry to them, forgive them, and get forgiven to ourselves. That is an ingredient, an integral part of tawbah. So that also needs to be followed. Then we ask Allah, Ramadan is just around here. If I go now without getting this Ramadan, I'll be really missing it, seriously missing. I want to see that guest coming to me. My dear brothers, the Habib sallallahu alayhi wasallam, just before coming Ramadan, before entering the month of Ramadan, he would call all the Sahaba and say, Ataakum Ramadan, Shahrul Mubarakun, Faradallahu Azza wa Jalla alaykum siyamah. The Ramadan is just around here. What a blessed month that Allah has made the fasting compulsory on you in that month. Tuftah fihi abwab as-sama. The doors, the gates of the Jannah will be open for you, and the doors or gates of Jahannam will be locked or closed for you. And the shayateen, they are chained because you are busy in doing ibadah. And then the Habib sallallahu alayhi wasallam would remind, dear believers, the Sahaba, think about this. The Ramadan comes with such a precious gift that one night in that month, one night is better than 1,000 months. So please get ready. Man hurima khayruha faqad hurima. Whoever has been unlucky or less fortunate to get the blessing, extract the blessing of the month of Ramadan, he is truly a loser. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us, forbid us from being the losers without getting the blessing of Ramadan. Another hadith, the Habib sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, as narrated, transmitted by Abu Hurairah radiyallahu anhu, بمحلوف رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم مات على المسلمين شهر خير لهم من رمضان. No other month comes as good as this month of Ramadan. No other month will come to you as good as the month of Ramadan. ولا أتى على المنافقين شهر شر لهم من رمضان. And no other month will come on the hypocrites worse than this month. For hypocrites, they will say, Ramadan is coming, now I'll have to stay hungry, my wife won't give me food, my children won't give, I got to stay hungry and work, this and that. They will take it as heavy. For them it is heavy, for hypocrites. And they will say, somehow it is finished. Oh, only one more day left. So only one more day. Like that, they don't like to have the Ramadan. They actually want the Ramadan to go too fast. Oh, how many days? It's already now gone. Oh, good. No, but the true believers, they are the other way around. Ya Allah, it is running away too fast from me. It is running too fast for me. They